One of my first bosses gave me a piece of advice that I think is probably among the most progressive advice I've received. He said, when you stay at any hotel, make sure you tip the maids, because they are among the poorest paid people in our society. So, little plug for the maids here. If you've not left them a tip, my suggestion is $5 a day. It has nothing to do with our conference, but I think it has a lot to do with economic justice and our sharing all that we have been given. I come to this maybe from a different direction than some of you. I come from a family of Angus breeders, pig breeders, fish farmers. I've worked on fish farms, I've worked on dairies. I don't first read the journals in bioethics. I'm more likely to be reading theriogenealogy or nature nanotechnology, or, because I worked for many years with the religious community, a religious journal than a bioethics journal. That said, I have taken a lot of courses in bioethics. One of the advantages of having worked with the religious community is I recognize a religious argument when I hear it. And lots of the arguments in this field are religious arguments that could be pulled directly from Isaiah or Revelation. This new technology will make the lame walk, the blind see. It doesn't matter the technology, it's going to bring about what we've all been looking for. Children who don't die after but a few days. The old will live to 100 or more. Those are wonderful dreams. Those are important things to work toward. Go and read, just Google Craig Venter synthetic biology to read the last revelation from God, or at least Craig Venter. The joke is that one day up in heaven, God was walking around and acting really full of God's self, and people asked what's going on, and he said, well, he's acting like Craig Venter again. Now, all too often, we all want these things. I mean, these are basic, we want healthy people, we want healthy children, we want a healthy environment. The first lobbying I ever did was actually get money for a fisheries project. But the professor I was working with said, now when you go to the legislature, tell them we're working to solve cancer. I go, we're not working to solve cancer. He says, but they won't fund it unless we tell them that. That was actually the last time I did that because I found it so distasteful to tell what I thought was a patent lie. But most of the dilemmas in framing are a lot more subtle than that. Last week I was talking to folks that wanted to genetically engineer cows to make their milk more like human milk, and to put in some things that will make the infants less likely to get diarrhea. And my response in all seriousness was, you do realize the major source of infant diarrhea is bad water. Maybe we could spend our money on water cleanup and not on genetically engineered cows that just maybe. But, because these claims are so powerful, too often the progressive community has parroted the claims of the promoters of the technology without even looking at all of the claims or unpacking all of them. I got 2.5 minutes left. I'll move fast. I think go back and look at the somatic nuclear stem cell debate on cloned embryos. Doesn't matter. They're going to solve everything. We have to do it. Even before we had cloned embryos in primates, we knew they were going to solve all of these things before the first experiment. Then I would say follow the money. Missouri passed state legislation on a referendum because one person in the stem cell debates wanted that bill passed. Now, to the best of my knowledge, the state has not funded any of that yet. California had the same thing. Some of us are working on gene patents. The people who believe that you need to have gene patents will seriously argue that all of these diseases won't be worked on unless we patent everything they've ever come across. Other points, I got 1.5 minutes. I think one of the things, there's one reference earlier, Sheila made a reference to Asia. I think it's really important that this community pay attention to what's going on in Asia. If you don't read Asian languages, then read what they publish in English papers. Yamanaka in Kyoto was the first to publish about induced pluripotent cells, but he was a guy in a minor university in Japan, publishing first in Japanese, so it wasn't that important. When University of Wisconsin did induced pluripotent cells, then everybody said, oh, this is really happening. And all of a sudden, when you go to the labs, I mean, who's working in the labs? They're Chinese, Indian lab workers that are going home and starting companies. So we need to pay attention to what's going on in Asia more than we have so far. I've got 17 seconds. One of the things that's gone on in Asia just last year, the Chinese have now cloned the first mouse from induced pluripotent stem cells. These cells are what I call genetically engineered stem cells. When we add those techniques to synthetic biology techniques, we have a lot more questions than we've ever had before. Some of the debates we've had about whether we stop the line at inheritable issues, I think are going to be really blurred really quickly if we start putting these genetically engineered stem cells into our human bodies. So the debate's changed. We need to follow it. We need to do a lot more things, and I've got a longer paper on the website. Summarize, we need to work on a few things really well, and not, most progressive conferences, we have 100 people and we have 200 issues. The right wing chooses 3 issues a year, and they hammer those 3 issues. We've got to figure out some way to get 100 of us working on 3 issues instead of 100 of us working on 200. Thank you.